This is Rich Hervey, drummer of Day of Doom, and your ears are bleeding to Craig's Metal Storm on Metal Devastation Radio.
Hey, Rich, how you doing, man?
Hey, what's happening, Craig?
Hey, Rich, as of late, you have a lot going on with Dave. You have The Second Coming, which is a reissue that includes two past releases, which are Night of Horror and Slaves of Insanity. And you are also recording a full-length album entitled Descent of Humanity for the coming year of 2019, both coming out on Lavadome Productions. Please go into depth about remastering and any bonus features on The Second Coming, and when will it be out?
We have some great stuff going on for the band. The newest thing coming out is going to be, as you said, The Second Coming. That's coming out on Lavadome. And what that is the re-release of our first two albums, Night of Horror and Slaves to Insanity. Slaves to Insanity was re-recorded and has a bonus track on it called The Exalted Ones. That should be out mid to late August. It has all new artwork, some great stuff done by Mark from Art Wars. He also did the layout. And the first album, Night of Horror, some people know this, but I figured I'll let everybody know. It was recorded along with myself with former Suffocation guitarist Doug Cerrito. And Doug played a few solos on the album. Great time. Everything was really great with that. The reason why we also put both the albums onto one CD was we know times are tough, and we wanted to do something cool for the fans and, you know, whoever's still buying music out there. And we thought it would be a great thing to do. You know, it all fit on one CD, and we thought it would be a really, really cool thing to do for everybody. As far as Descent of Humanity, that should be out late next year. I just did the drums about 2 weeks ago. As of right now, it has 8 tracks. One of the songs is a real long one. We've been listening to a lot of Rush and Dream Theater. So it's right now it's at the 15-minute mark. So it's a pretty lengthy song. And say in the next few weeks we'll start getting guitar tones and start recording guitars, and then of course the bass will follow after that, vocals, solos, and anything else after that. Yeah, everything is really moving along really well.
That's awesome. You fully re-recorded Slaves to Insanity. What changes were made from the first time it was released until now?
All right, well, the first time when we recorded it, Sam wasn't in the band, Sam Lara, our bass player and lead vocalist. Neither was Doug Randazzo, our guitarist in the band. And it needed something fresh. It deserved to be updated. It deserved to have the attack, and it needed to really have the playing abilities of Doug and Sam on it. It was really, really great to hear the songs played in a manner that they really needed to be. It was, it was a little flat. The recording was a little flat. I wanted to bring it back to life, and we had the extra track. When we did record the album the first time, we did a death cover, a tribute to Chuck, Flattening of Emotions, and it was, it really is, the ins and outs of the music business of putting a cover on an album. It can lead to legal stuff. So it was left off, and I had the extra track that I remembered, and we went in and we did it, and it's called The Exalted Ones, and it fit right in there. And to be honest with you, I thought it should have been on the original recording, but it was left off, and now I'm really glad that it's on the recording for everybody to hear. I think you're really going to enjoy it.
Cool. You stated that you added a bonus track, The Exalted Ones, that was never released. How did it take you guys to write? How long did it take you guys to write this song, and what inspired you to write it?
What inspired us to write it was we just wanted it, first and foremost, we like to write brutal, crushing music. I write a majority of the lyrics, and, with everything going on in the world, and I basically wanted to touch upon, you've got these so-called leaders, and then you have the cast-outs, and the leaders are the exalted ones, so they think. But it's really the cast-outs who are really making the world spin. That was basically the basis of it. It really fit right into the track listing and the whole concept of Slaves to Insanity.
Cool. Because there has been a massive demand for both Night Horror and Slaves to Insanity albums, why did you decide on putting both albums on one release instead of reissue both of them?
We know times are tough, and we wanted to do something special for everybody. We could have very easily, and Lavadome could have done it too, who was, I must say, behind this as well. Lavadome Productions, and is a very, very understanding label to what's going on in the times. And we all thought and put our heads together and said, let's just put this out together for everybody. Let's put a really nice booklet together. I think everybody will enjoy the artwork. It really came out great. That's really the basis of it, And it also is very productive to the band because we want both albums to be out there. We believe that they are insane and they should be heard by the masses.
Cool. What songs off Night Horror and Slaves to Insanity have you personally written the full lyrics for? If you can tell us one song off each album, what are they about?
For Night of Horror, I wrote The Unblinking Eye, Nightmare Child, Hatred Is, Kill All the Humans. On to Slaves to Insanity, I wrote lyrics for the whole album, Perpetual Sorrow, Lust for Blood, Release the Inner Demon, These Creatures, The Exalted Ones, Inhumans, Slaves to Insanity. Our guitarist, Doug Randazzo, wrote the lyrics on Night of Horror to Pale Delimitations and Tempest of Revenge. Some of the songs I really love. I mean, it's hard to pinpoint because they end up being like your children. How do you have a favorite one? But if there's standouts that I really enjoy, I got to say I really like Doug's song, Pale Delimitations. I know I didn't write it, but it really got some great stuff in it. But as far as myself, I do enjoy Hatred Is and Kill All the Humans off of Night of Horror. And then off of Slaves, I love Lust for Blood. And I'm really loving Slaves to Insanity.
That's badass. What is new material sounding like for Descent of Humanity? Although recently you have been recording your drum tracks in your own studio.
Yeah, the new material is definitely brutal, crushing, destructive death metal. I mean, that's never going to change. You're not going to hear Day of Doom put out a different style of music, You're not going to hear us change up and try to go with the sign of the times and try to sell and try to be something we're not. We were brought up, the way we were brought up was on hard rock, into metal, into thrash, and just morphed into brutal, destructive death metal. And, lucky for us, being in the New York area on Long Island, we've had some, and we still do have some great bands still destroying it. And as far as Descent goes, I have to say, all of us contributing musically to this and having our own input and then discussing it and putting that feeling together, it's going to really destroy people. I believe that. It's going to melt people's ears. That's for sure. I mean, I know a lot of bands say that about their stuff because they love it, but I believe that this next release is really going to take it to a new level.
That's badass. It seems that each year that you're expanding and crushing death metal sound while still retaining the brutality. How difficult is it for you guys to keep things interesting in death metal after all these years?
Well, the best way I could put that is we have a 28-year-old mentality. It's a never grow old mentality, Unfortunately, we do, but we still love older death metal. Will never escape us, and we always want to improve. If you listen to Gates of Hell, it was an improvement from Night of Horror and also Slaves to Insanity. And the way we go about it is, for me personally as a drummer, I don't settle. Neither does Doug. Neither does Sam. We don't settle. There's always something new we want to grow with. We will practice and say, hey, let's try this, let's try that. I'm going to get a little faster. I'm going to try a different technique. And then, and then it morphs into our songs. And we start adding new elements of things that we didn't in the past. And it's also experience. Once you have 20 years in, you start to learn the ins and the outs, what works, what doesn't work. And then, you just go about it at the studio. You got to put in the work. And when you're sitting there and you're playing and you know what's up, you know when it's good, you know when it's bad. It's like anything else. And if something's not working, it gets scrapped. There's no settling in this band.
That's awesome. What are the main themes that we're running through your album, or is it too early to discuss this at this point?
Oh, no, it's not too early. The album title came to me a while back, Descent of Humanity. What the theme is everything we all see in the world, not just here in the States, it's worldwide. Humanity is definitely falling to shit, and we wanted, the lyrical themes on the last few albums have been about religious themes, I guess you would say, good and evil. And this time around, wanted to steer a little clear of it, wanted to progress, try something new. And with that, there are so many things going on in the world, really wanted to go ahead and just really talk about a lot of the stuff that was going on and put things in our perspective. You know, there's some really great titles. There's title track, The Sense of Humanity. There's The Wicked Will Prevail. There's Blood-Soaked Vengeance. There's Watching the World Burn. Final Judgment. That's just a few of them. And it all will base upon basically what we all see and hear is going on in the world today.
That's awesome. While you're laying down your drum tracks, you do it the old school way with miking your full kit. What is your kit set up for this recording? Do you also use the same kit while you do in this recording?
Yeah, that's a really good question. On this last album, I went ahead. The whole kit was mic'd. Everything was mic'd. And also my kicks were also triggered, my bass drums. And that way I could get a blend. We try to stay away from just having a typewriter click, click, click sound and add a little more beef to the bass drums. It was a really good experience this time around. I tried to do that with all the recordings. There's a lot of productions out there that I'm hearing. It's so polished. I mean, it sounds great sonically to a point, but when you're listening to it, you know something's up. You know, I mean, at least I do. I know there's trickery and doctory going on, and that's all fine and dandy. But once you see the band live, there's no hiding that. You know who can play it and who can't. Yeah, it was really, really great this time. We got some really great mics. Went out, got some really great mics. Got some new gear, and I think the drum sound came out sick, really sick. I mean, because the drums are the foundation. You have a shitty drum sound, that's it. After that, the house is going to crumble. So that's what we went for. We started with the basics, went with the sick, beefy drum sound, and the kit sounded great, and it all projected beautifully, and very happy with the sound. Very happy with the drum tracks.
Cool, cool. Speaking of recording in your own studio, you handle recording each track, mixing, and mastering. Do you ever feel pressured or stressed out?
You know what? Anything you love to do can pressure and stress you out. But in the long run, it's the best decision that not only myself, but the rest of the guys in the band made, was to have it in our hands. I mean, there's been a progression. I mean, when I first started and did Night of Horror, when I did it with Cerrito, there's stuff I learned from him. And using the tools that are on the internet, I learned some stuff on there, and the next recording progressed. And yeah, they could be stressed because, you know, we have lives, we have relationships, we have families and everything else. But if it's something you love to do, you'll do it. And you'll put in the work. And, of course, it's very hard work. But, you know, that's just the way it goes. You know, it has its moments. But I have found through the years of doing it, the best thing you could do is if you're feeling stressed, you're feeling overwhelmed, step away. It's not going nowhere. That's another great part about doing it on our own. We don't have to pay for studio time. It's just time. And walk away, come back to it. Even if you come back the next day, come back with fresh ears, listen to it back again, and come at it with a new perspective is always a great thing.
That's badass. And the next one is being a thrash and death metal band in New York. Many have taken the route of a band like Suffocation. Although you're good friends of theirs for years, how did you avoid not sounding similar to them? And do you feel that Suffocation has created New York's death metal sound stamp?
Oh, yeah. I just want to say the guys who Suffo are just extremely great human beings, past and present. Not just the newer guys, not the older guys. Love all the guys in any incarnation of the band. Great human beings. As if anybody's been out there and you hung with them, you know this yourself. And, a big thing for us was, okay, we love Suffocation. They've written some of the most, not only classic riffs, but classic songs and influential songs in music to ever be laid down for this genre of music. But we didn't want to be a copycat. I know people say it's flattery to basically take from your influences, but sometimes it can be a little overdone and redundant, and it can be almost robbery. And when we play something, if we're going about it, and we even say, does it not only suffer, but, Morbid Angel, Deicide, Gorguts, Rippy Corpse, Human Remains, Malevolent Creation, so on and so forth. If it sounds like something those guys did, or it's even in that vein, then it's not Day of Doom. We want to be our own entity. We want to stand on our own 2 feet. So with that, of course, we love that music, and we love those bands, but we want to be our own. We want to stand again on our own 2 feet. As far as Suffocation, if anything, the New York death metal sound, I can't argue that. There are plenty of people, not only in New York, but around the world, who have loved that sound and went for it, and they've inspired millions all over the world. And, it's not a bad thing to say. Those guys are the betrayers of evil. Those guys have held it down for years and still doing it sick. And, yeah, definitely. They are Long Island, New York, holding it down.
That's awesome. Although you're recording your new album, do you plan on playing some shows in between?
Yes, we are currently setting up shows. What we did was we took a little break, because it's a good thing for a band, for anybody in general. Recharge your batteries, get together, throw down, get it together. When we were doing the recording, we had a mission statement, we had a plan, and we stuck to the plan. We took a few weeks off. I went over the material, went to the studio, and the plan is we're going to set up shows. We're in the middle of talking with some venues, setting some really cool stuff up, and then looking to have a release party for the re-release, The Second Coming of Night of Horror and Slaves to Insanity. And while that's going on, recording will progress. And once that's done, we really would love to tour all the way to 2018, 19, because plenty of music and plenty of stuff for everybody to hear. I mean, we'll continue. We always write. We always have stuff. And when we have our own studio and the ability to record, who knows, we might do an EP. We might throw down some stuff, might do something live, But that's all up in the air. That's all preliminary right now.
You played any venues throughout the New York scene. Which new venues in New York have you played that you would like to play this year?
Oh, okay. We played some really great venues. I mean, in the past, we were very lucky to play CBGB. That was really cool. I mean, it was a very odd place, because when you walked in, it was a long hallway, basically, and you look at the place and you say to yourself, "What's going to go on here?" Sound was amazing. People destroyed it. They actually ripped some stuff apart. It was a really great night. And then, in the city, Manhattan, in the city, we really love playing Gramercy Theater. It's a really great venue. We love Webster Hall. Locally here on the island, another local venue is Red River Inn. Everybody there treats us really well. And, we really want to branch out. And hopefully we'll play Best Buy, or I don't even know what they call it now. They changed the name again. But, we want to branch out, play some other places. We don't mind big or small. As long as people there and they want to listen to us and they have a great time, that's all that matters.
That's awesome. Where would the ultimate venue for you to play be?
The ideal place to play would always be Madison Square Garden, and that would be really insane to have a death fest at Madison Square Garden. Can you imagine that? That would be pretty brutal. But, I guess right now, realistically, yeah, it would be, I'm not sure if they call it Best Buy or PlayStation Theater in Manhattan. That would be a great venue to play. I guess that's one we really want to hit. There's also Irving Plaza That's another great venue. Any place that will support brutal death metal and want to promote it and put it out there and draw a crowd and let us all throw down, we're more than welcome to go.
Cool. Sometimes bands get booked with other styles of music outside of your own genre. What are the pros and cons of mixed shows?
All right, well, the pros are people get to hear different styles of music. You get to check out some bands you would have never heard before, or even a style of music you would have never heard before. And you might go onto the net and search social media, and you'll go out there and see what you might like, what you might not like. The cons is that sometimes fans don't want to go to mixed shows. If it's this style of music or that style of music in these fans and those fans, they might want to just go out and see a full death metal show. They don't want to go out and they don't want to hear, A band, B band, C band. They want a full night of death metal. Or if you're into thrash, they may want that. That could be the downfall, because they won't be open-minded to what you're doing. Do you still go up there and destroy on stage? Absolutely. You go up there with one will, the will to kill, and throw down real hard. Other than that, there's really no big difference between it. You go out there, you do the best you can. People are going to like it. People aren't going to like it. It is what it is. You still got to do what you got to do.
How has the metal scene in the New York area evolved since you became a part of the scene?
Oh, the scene has evolved a lot. Definitely what I've noticed is there is a huge female base coming to shows. In the past, it was mostly the girlfriend of somebody in a band or somebody's friend coming with them. Now, there are women in the pit throwing down harder than dudes, and it's great to see. And I love it personally. The whole band does, because there's a lot of women in the scene who are supporting the scene as well, and they're out there doing everything they can to make it go. Another thing is it could be a positive or a negative, depending on what band you are and how you feel about it. The big thing is the ticket sales. It's a turnoff to a lot of bands. It really is. That's just a fact. That's the harsh reality. There are venues that are really great about it, and you have no problem, and they say, take these tickets, do the best you can, try to unload what you can. And there are some that say, well, if you don't unload these tickets, you owe us. And that's a double-edged sword, because some people say, well, if your band is good, then you should be able to get rid of all of them. Well, sometimes it's a really great show, but it's a Wednesday night, and people can't make it. People have priorities. People have engagements. People have things going on, and sometimes you can't do it, and you got to pick and choose shows more wisely, as opposed to back then it was come to our venue, set up your gear, let's all have a great time and destroy. And it's changed a little bit that way, But for the most part, it's still the same. Bunch of people going to the show, looking to destroy the place and have a great time.
That's awesome. The next one is, what do you feel is the crowd's favorite song, and what are some of your own favorites you enjoy playing live?
Some of the crowd favorites I would have to say is Lust for Blood. That comes off the re-release of Slaves to Insanity. Another one that people seem to really love is Embrace Your Demise. That comes off The Gates of Hell. And also the song Slaves to Insanity, that comes off the album Slaves to Insanity. For me personally, I'm really loving the new songs. I love, we have 2 new songs that are going to be in the set, title track, Descent of Humanity, and also, we also have another song that we're working on, a title. Right now, I think it's The Wicked Will Prevail. That's pretty much what we've been going with. The lyrics are written, and that should end up being the title. And those two songs are just cooking. They're cooking. They're moving. They have 6 slams in it. I think the crowd is really going to love it. There's a couple of songs I also love. I love Playing Through Horrible Despair off the Gates of Hell, and Release the Inner Demon, and that comes off of Slaves. And we're working on, as we're working on this recording, there's some songs that we're thinking about throwing into the set. You know, a lot of people, it's got all over the internet, it's got a lot of hits. There's a song off Gates of Hell, Slaughter of the Lamb. And also, there's a song that was not released that you can find on YouTube. Actually, if you search DoomTube, that's our channel. And you could go on there, and there's plenty of videos and live stuff, and check us out. This song called Facing Death. It's a little bit of a different style. It's not too far-fetched. It's more slammier. It's a little slower, a little slammier. I mean, and I think we're going to add that one in. And also, we're thinking about 2 songs from the first album. We're thinking about Pale Delineations and also the song Hatred Is. And once we do that, I think it will make an even more well-rounded set, throwing a little more from every album. And, yeah, so those are some of the ones that I think fans really like and I really love playing.
That's awesome. The next one is, I understand that you're a big fan of Kiss and Peter Criss. As a young metalhead growing up, how has his and some of your other drummer influences, playing skills, helped enhance your own drumming techniques?
Yes, Peter Criss is the reason, the Catman, and the whole band. You know, Peter Criss added a real jazzy, bluesy style, something that was a little different from back in the day. His influences were Gene Krupa, Buddy Rich, and then you throw that into a band with a bunch of guys who were into Cream, Jimi Hendrix, Led Zeppelin, it definitely, and the Beatles, it added a whole new element, and it made them open up a little more. I mean, his whole playing technique on Destroyer completely changed too. And it opened my eyes to certain things can happen. You know, you can have a whole marching technique, or you could have just a straightforward rock beat, hold it down. And, yeah, he was the main reason. I mean, I know a lot of people talk about the makeup. The makeup's great, the explosions, the blood, the fire. Sick. I love it. But, put on those albums, they're great rock albums. They really are. They stand up just about against anybody if you have an open mind and listen to it. Some of the other drummers that definitely influenced me were Eric Carr. After Peter had left and he was gone, here comes this guy with this big monster double bass kick, and he's just playing the songs double the speed, and at that point, it was all about Slayer and Metallica for me. So it was like, yes, all right, Kiss with double bass. I love it, And then that's how it progressed too. As I said, at that time, I had influences, a musical family. I listened to Buddy Rich, Gene Krupa, and, Louis Bellson. And it opened, had a very good musical broadening there that allowed me to get the basics down. But then as time went on, there was Peter Criss, Neil Peart, and then you had a bunch of others, John Bonham, and then it progressed. Like I was saying earlier in one of your earlier questions, progression is key. And I progressed. And then after that, it went to Lars and Lombardo and Benente and Hoagland, and then after that, it progressed. It went into Pete Sandoval and Mike Smith and, and the list goes on in death metal. So many great guys. You got Dave Chorus. You got, multiple players who have added something to the whole genre of each of those styles of music. And I try to be open-minded. Listen to young guys. I listen to different guys. I listen to a bunch of jazz. There's Dave Weckl. I listen to, some people are going to be like, what? But you should really check him out. Steve Smith, who's back in Journey. The guy is amazing. But then there's a lot of guitar players that I listen to. My guitarist Doug and bass player Sam will tell you, for a drummer, you think I should have been a guitarist. one of my favorite albums in the world is Jason Becker's Perpetual Burn. That, hands down, is the single, at least to me, in my opinion, the greatest instrumental album ever recorded. And no one has been able to touch it. There's been just as good players, but no one has been able to come close in touching it. There was one other that I really loved, and it was Mark Rizzo, who plays in Soulfly. You know, his first album. His first solo album, if you haven't had a chance, you should check it out. The guy is really amazing.
That's awesome. The next one is, did you always start off playing with two bass drums, or did you start playing them more when you started performing in the death metal bands?
No, when I was younger, oddly enough, when I first started, I had a cousin who told me to get behind the kit. He played the drums, and he was into Priest, Maiden, Kiss, Sabbath, and he had one bass drum. And, you know, I got behind there, and I was fooling around. But it just didn't feel natural to me. When I seen Neil with his kit and Tommy Aldridge with his kit, I felt like, and, you know, even Eric Carr, I played double bass even before that. I said, you know what? That's what I want. That feels right. I was always, even before I had a kit, drummers were always air drumming, tapping, you know, always fidgeting around. And when I got behind a double bass kit, it was just so natural to me. Symmetrically, it felt right. Where the toms were set. I mean, when I was younger, I had a full-blown crazy kit. I went the whole Neil way. I mean, it wasn't as big as Mike Portnoy's. I didn't have four bass drums or Mike Mancini, but, you know, it was double bass, four toms, two floor toms, all power toms, cymbals all over the place, two rides, two hi-hats. And as time went on, when I started getting older, the kit changed, things lowered a little bit, got a little more comfortable. Again, that's just with experience and learning. But yeah, pretty much I've been behind a double bass kit for my whole drumming musical career.
That's awesome. The next one is, how often do you practice to get your feet up to the speed levels that you master throughout your release, The Gates of Hell, in 2014? And are these releases still available to the masses through your record label and your band?
We have band practice. We have rehearsals 1 day a week, about 4-5 hours. But I do have a kit at home, and I do rehearse. I like to rehearse a couple of times a week. I mean, I like to go over new stuff. It isn't just to play fast and death metal. There's, you know, ostinatos, and there's different patterns, and, you know, doing limb independence. I try to do all kinds of different little things that can benefit and add into the band. And, you know, maybe when I try something new like that, it might inspire one of the guys to write a different riff, a different style of riff. They may come up with something a little more insane. You know, I try to practice in a lot of odd times. That's major for us when we're writing. We love the meat and potatoes, but we also love our music in three, you know, and it brings a whole nother element to the music. As far as getting my feet, that's just second nature. When I did the Gates, I would practice, especially before the recording. It was 2 to 3 hours, and it wouldn't just be independence just on the feet, but there are exercises I would do, and I still do today. I will use a book written by a great drummer, Dom Femulero, and he has a lot of great exercises in that book, and I'll use that. And then I try to expand. I write my own exercises, and I try different things. I mean, there's heel down, heel up. I play with my heel up. My pedals, I use Access pedals. They're very smooth. You could cruise with them, and you have to, and also, you know, some people I've known, they can't use them. They find that they move too quick, and they've been used because they're a direct pedal, direct drive, as opposed to a chain on the bass drum pedal, which a lot of people just got used to using their whole musical life. And some people just don't want to change. They don't want to go for it, or it could be they're just comfortable. For me, I'm willing to try things. And when I tried these pedals, they gave me the ability to just play even faster, it feels like to me. Maybe it's a mental thing, but it was also the practice. But speaking of the Gates of Hell, yeah, the Gates of Hell is available. It's out there. It's out there worldwide. You can pick it up from us. You can go to lavadome.org. You can pick it up there. Or you can go to insanetalesfromthedead.com. And when you go to that page, you can click the link that says Day of Doom. And on both pages, you'll find shirts, CDs, and a variety of other merchandise that we are very shortly. We're going to have new logo shirts up. And also, I should let everybody know, our guitarist, Doug Randazzo, has his own comic book, and that is called Insane Tales from the Dead. Right now, he's working on his third issue, comes out in October, has artwork by myself in there, which I am an artist too. And I think anybody who's into any kind of metal, or if you're into comic books and even not into metal, to really check it out. Man, he does great work, and he has some really, really great top-notch artists who are contributing some really great stuff to this. I've had a chance to see some of it, and it's really great. But yeah, the Gates of Hell is available. If anybody wants, they can also send us a message on Facebook, and we'll get back to you. We'll send you the links. We'll send you the info. And yeah, it's a sick album. I think if you're into metal, you're going to love it.
That's awesome. How long has it taken to master the double bass? And it sounds like you added some trigger work. Do you feel this helps make the drums sound more beastly?
Well, yeah, there's it's like I said earlier in the prior question, mastering it takes years. I had a few students, and the old saying, you got to walk before you can run. And they've listened to Slayer, and they're listening to, I turn them on, they listen to some death metal, a variety of different bands, and they just want to cruise. Granted, there's a couple of people that I had that could move. They were on it. They can really throw down hard. Then there were some that were sloppy, and their feet weren't even, and things weren't up to par. And I would give them exercises, and you got to work for it, and I'd explain to them, it takes time. When I first started, I'm sure I thought I sounded really sick, but in all reality, I'm sure it was a bit choppy. And then I would listen back to myself. I would record with an old box radio, and I would say, ooh, that didn't sound like how I was feeling it. And then I would sit there and just, just play double bass, not even on the pedals. I'd sit at the edge of the bed, or I'd sit on a chair, or annoy all my teachers, and that's the way it would go down. And, it was a really, 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 really sick thing to have to get down, but, that's the way it went.
That's awesome. I noticed that you use a lot of wrist movements. How important is wrist movements along with some arm strength?
Well, using your arms strictly could also cause you to tense up, make the whole body just lock up, slow you down. A lot of people, when they first start, that's what they do. I call it caveman drumming. It's just straight from the elbows. You're not going to last. It's not going to hold tight. You're going to fall off. Your wrists are key. Your wrists are really key. But I forgot to mention in the last question what you were saying with the triggers. A lot of people say it's cheating. There are people who trigger their whole kit. And they're barely tapping the snare drum. They're barely tapping the drums. And they can get away with it. Their wrists are moving. And the wrist is key. Drumming, like I said, drumming is done with your wrist. Drumming is done. You have to be very loose. So you have to stretch. Especially as you get older. The limbs tighten up. Things get super tight on you. You got to loosen up. You got to do some calisthenics. It will help a lot. It really will. Instead of caveman drumming and then you open up into the wrist, you find everything becomes more fluent. You get around the toms easier. You can do different patterns easier. And the key is, though, to keep the strength. I mean, that's the one thing with the triggers that a lot of guys will turn, there's a sensitivity on it, and they will turn them all the way up. Barely got to touch their bass drums. Me, I come from an old school way. I use the triggers on my kicks to enhance the sound. So you have the bass drum mic, and you have that thud, you have that punch, and then you have that kick, that click sound that comes off, and you blend them together, and then there you go. You've got the click sound, you've got the beefness, it just punches you in the gut. I love it, you know. And I will not turn my sensitivity all the way up. I will keep that mid-range. I feel like, you know, I should be, again, I come from a place where you're going to record it, you better be able to play it. And a lot of guys, it's not cheating. It's just they have that ability, so they use it. And it's granted, all to you, you know. But if you're going to play 280 beats on an album, and then you're going to step out live, and it isn't happening, it's going to go over the average person's head. I know it is. But to me, when I go see it, like, ooh, what went on in the studio? But even with some of those albums that I hear like that, I love the music. So, you know, I mean, it's hit or miss. But again, yeah, the wrist and keeping yourself loose and using, you know, I mean, you could even do the sickest drum roll or blast with 2 fingers, you know. But that's a big thing. I mean, it's like when you give a kid a pair of sticks and they get behind them a drum set, it's a pop, 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 and then that's it. They're over, you know. There may be blasting for 4 measures, 8 at the most, until you hear them. It's just not going to happen. But when you got the wrist going and you're holding the stick, and also what's important is the weight of your stick. That's a very individual thing. I mean, some guys like to go really light, and that will enable them to play super fast. Me, I go with a 5A, rock, Vic Firth, nylon tip. And what I like to do is I like to go with the baseball method. I'll warm up with a heavier stick, and like before a show on a practice pad or, you know, playing on the edge of a chair in the dressing room or something, I'll play with a heavier stick. It's kind of like putting a donut on a bat. And then when I step up, you know, to the throne, I play my regular sticks. It feels like I'm ounces lighter, you know. So that's a good tip. I don't know if that's out there, but if you're a drummer out there listening, you know, that could help your endurance. But one thing is don't bust your load, because you're going to come out on fire. I learned that the hard way, because you got lighter sticks and you're ready to go. So try to keep even, try to play even, and it will work out for you.
That's awesome. And the next one is drummers need a lot of coordination. Eyes, wrists, fingers, arms, legs, feet, and some adding head banging. How do you self-discipline and condition yourself as a drummer in preparation of recording and playing live?
Well, definitely I like to do some calisthenics. I like to stretch. I like to loosen up. I like to loosen my wrist up. I'll play with a practice pad. Like I just said, I'll play with a heavy stick and go in with, you know, play with something a little lighter. When I was younger, it would be first song, go out, head bang, go nuts. But then you forget you're under the lights and you got to keep that pace, you know, keep that pace. You're, you know, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. And when you get to the end, I try to keep I want to play just as fast when I started to when it ends. I mean, there are young guys that I've seen, they come out and they want to whip their hair around, and by the time they get to the middle of the first song, you can just hear it slowing down, and it's all downhill from there. But they learn, because there's times I've seen that, and you guys, and we talk, because the drumming community is great. You know, we talk to each other, we learn from each other, we try to have, you know, inspiration for each other, and we try to talk to each other, especially now with social media. You know, oh man, what was that technique you were using there? Oh man, you were doing this, you know. So it's great. And try to be cool with each other, and not in an insulting way. I try to help some of the younger drummers and say to them, yo, I know you want to get into it because that's great, because I feel like it's also a show, and you want people to say, wow, this dude's going nuts, you know. But there's a balance, you know. You don't want to just come out on fire and not be able to sustain it all the way to the end. So what I try to do is you know, at practice, try to keep a nice balance between how I'm playing the songs, breathe nice and easily through my nose, and when the time comes and I'm getting into it, I'll get into it. You know, when you're sound checking too, you know, a lot of guys, when they get into a slam, they're really way into their snare drum. And if you pay attention live, you'll hear the guy grinding, you know, and when he gets into a slam, it's bah, bah, bah. Sound guys are not fond of that. You know, they really would like you to be even, be steady, and keep the pace and keep the sound even through the whole show. And that will help you in the future. That will, because when you go to that venue to play again, they'll say, you know, all right, this guy knows what's up, you know, very easy to work with. It happens. So, you know, that's another little tip out there for everybody who's getting out there and they're playing, and if you play a bigger venue, you know.
Awesome. Was Chuck and Death a big impact on your personal influences? Also, since you've done a Death tribute song, Flattening of Emotions, which is off their 1991 Human album, was this released on one of your albums?
Yes. Chuck was a big influence on us. You know, it was a real shame that he had to be taken from us. The guy was not only a great musician, not only wrote some of the greatest music ever, but he was a really great guy. Had an opportunity to meet him once before, and he couldn't have been more of a gracious human being. And I've heard that from countless other people. Never heard a bad word about the guy, and it really sucks he was taken from us. And yeah, that was pretty heinous. But yeah, we recorded the song "Flattening of Emotions" as a tribute to Chuck. I mean, it was a tribute to Death, but it was even more a tribute to Chuck. Try to convey how much we cared for this guy and his music, you know. And we recorded it for the album "Slaves to Insanity," and it wasn't ready to go down. There's legal stuff that goes down. There's you know, record labels and whatnot, and it just didn't pan out. It didn't work. But if you do want to check it out, you can go to our Facebook page, and you could go to Music of Doom, and if you click on there, you will find the song. And it came out great. It came out really great. And you know, miss that guy a lot. And I mean, I know there's a few bands rolling around. There's tributes, and you know, you got Gus and the guys doing Gruesome, and it's a really good thing. Good thing to keep Chuck alive out there. He deserves it. He deserves it a lot.
Cool. You guys have all known each other for many years. How long have you all known each other for, and how did you meet?
Wow, man. Doug, Sam, and I have known each other for well over 20 years. We're not just a band. We're not just some guys that jam. We're family. We're brothers. The good, the bad, the ugly. We've been through it all. We are so supportive of each other, and we are so respectful towards each other that not only in the band aspect, because we're very open to listening to each other, and there's no leader in the band. Everybody in this band is just as important as everybody else. Without them, I'm just a drummer on stage, and it's kind of pointless, you know, and everybody has a contributing factor, and it's all respected. But in life, we are there for each other. We met, there was a mutual friend Doug and I had, and we jammed in a band together, Doug had. And from there, Doug and I went to a local store that used to be here on the island called None of the Above Records that a good friend of ours, Tom, owned with a member of the band Sorrow. Everybody remembers Sorrow? That's right. And they used to have everything in there: death metal, hardcore, thrash. I mean, mixed it up, and they were a really great place. Unfortunately, one of the guys passed away and the store closed down. But at the time, they had a board up, and there was musicians that would put up looking for us. And I ended up getting a call from Sam. And Sam and I spoke on the phone, and he had riffs. And this is before email. Sam would take his box radio and send me and Doug cassette tapes, and we'd get them in the mail, and we'd listen and say, hey, this guy is on point. He knows what he's doing. And this is when Sam played guitar, actually. And we started jamming in a band, and we were in a band called Butchery together that a few people might know. We played here. We played all over the place pretty much. And we had a really great time for a bunch of years. As time went on, we did our own thing here and there, but I mean, not too far apart from jamming with each other. And we morphed right back into it again, like it's second nature, like we're riding a bike. Me and Doug started writing. Actually, like I said, as a friendship level, I contacted Sam and on Facebook with no intentions, just, hey, man, how you doing? Do you want to come down? Going to have a barbecue? Do you want to? And he came down and checked it out, and he was a little unhappy in the band he was in. And he said, hey, maybe I'll learn a few songs. And a few songs turned into a few more songs, I can't speak solely for Sam, but I believe he really enjoyed what he was hearing. And here we are, almost 5 years later, and a bunch of shows, great times, sick recordings, and it's just getting better. It's just getting better. This next recording, Sam's vocals and Doug's vocals, and even I will be singing again on this next one, are going to blow people's minds. We're going to throw down hard.
That's awesome. The next one is, what inspired you to make music together?
What inspired us to make music together was the love of music. It's Sam, Doug, and I, even independently, before we knew each other, were playing. Sam's got family members that play, and was very supportive. Doug's father played, and his older brother, always into music, turning him on to great music, and still does today. And for me, myself, it's just, since I was a kid, that was it. I think I was born to music. That's how much I'm into it. And that will never change. And what inspired us would have to be the bands we all listen to, the music that they played, the stuff they wrote, the lyrics they wrote, the way they went about it. What person who loved music didn't see Kiss Alive 2, open it up and see the inside and say, I want to do that. I want to be up there on that riser on those drums with that fire exploding next to me, or people a little younger and you've seen Metallica for the first time, or even kids today seeing some bands from today. That's just the way it goes. You see them and you say, I want to do that. The reality of it is the day of the rock star is gone. Gene was right, but do you stop? No, you do what you love to do. We're always going to write. We're always going to play. We're always going to be friends. We're always going to get together and jam. I've always said it, I'm dying behind the kid. That's how it's going to go. You're going to hear a cymbal crash in the basement. It's going to be me laying against the drums. That's just the way it's going to go down. 80, still trying to grind.
Cool. What do you think are key elements to keep a band working together for many years? Respect.
You're younger, you're hot-headed, or you think your way is the right way, or you've got a lead singer disease or so forth. It doesn't work. You know, when your friends think you're an asshole and don't want to spend time with you, it's a matter of time until it just crumbles. You know, lucky for me, and the guys, we've been good friends with each other. We know each other's families. We've been through death, marriages, you know, breakups, everything, and we have a respect for each other that is uncanny, you know, and we get that from influence from some of the bands that we've loved our whole life. A major one is Rush, you know. Sure, Rush could have went out there and gotten Mike Portnoy after Neil didn't want to do this no more, and they could have went out and played, but out of respect to their brother, it's not going to go down. It's the three of them, and it's the way it's going to be. And we get a lot of influence from them, of course, musically, but how they treat themselves and how they go about their business is a big thing. And we, you know, I like to look at them as an influence on you should treat somebody in the music business. You know, I mean, you're going to have bad people, of course you are, but if you have bad people in your band, it's not going to work. You go to band practice and you say, oh, man, I don't want to see this guy's face, but he plays sick. It's only a matter of time. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter how big you are. You know, like I said earlier, the house is going to crumble. That's just how it goes. I mean, there's been plenty bands that's been evidence of. But, yeah, man, it's respect. We have an undying respect for each other. We care about each other. And, you know, and we love to play brutal, crushing, fucking sick death metal together.
That's awesome. While each member works full-time jobs, has family or relations, do you ever find it difficult to juggle everything, and how do you arrange to get it all done?
Yeah, it could be difficult. You know, I mean, there's wives, there's girlfriends, there's full-time jobs. But if it's something you love to do, you're going to do it. And we are very lucky in our lives that we have significant others and family who are very into what we do and very respectful towards us and also very supportive. I mean, you've got to be to anybody who plays in a band. And, you know, we are very lucky that our girlfriends and our wives and children and family members support us the way they do. And I just want to say thank you to them, because without them, it wouldn't make it as easy for us to do what we do. And it's there's a lot of stuff that goes on. You know, they'd love to be at every show, but there's things going on at home, and they hold the house down. You know, they make the world spin, and we appreciate them a lot. We really do.
That's awesome. The next one is, what are your immediate music career goals?
Well, at the moment, it's to really get into this recording of Descent of Humanity and get the tracks done. And then it's going to be set up a tour. You know, we'd love to play with some sick bands around the country. Even if we can head out, that would be great too, out of the States. And but that's really the immediate goal right now. Now, I would have to say set up shows. We're looking to set up a bunch of really sick shows. So once that all starts flowing and things get into place, but for the most part, it's get the re-releases out and get the tracks done for the Descent of Humanity and shows. That's really the goal right now. Don't want to jump ahead too far, you know. Keep everything on plan, keep everything on goal, keep everything going in the right direction the way we like to do it like that.
Cool. The next one is, it is interesting that your band name Day of Doom came to thoughts while you were watching the movie Conan the Barbarian from 1982, which you heard a quote from, Doomsday is here. That stood out in your mind. Have others had the misconception behind how your band name came about?
Yeah, there's definitely been some misconceptions. I mean, when I heard Thulsa Doom say Day of Doom is here, Day of Doom, that's it. I mean, But, you know, you get bands and you got fans and you got people who immediately, which I could understand, they see the word Doom and they think we're a Doom band. But if they took the time to listen, it's very evident that we are not a Doom metal band. There's also been a couple of odd ones that I've heard, but the biggest one that I heard was we got our name from a Superman comic called The Day of Doom. And I guess Doomsday kills him or something or another. And, I've seen that a few times. And I actually ended up getting a shirt sent to me that was Superman on the shirt. And it says Day of Doom all over the shirt, which was pretty cool, you know. But that's not the case at all. And then there's a book that's out called The Day of Doom. People thought it was from that, but no, it came from Conan the Barbarian, you know, the Arnold version, the only version.
That's awesome.
Yes.
And the next one, what advice do you have for people who want to form their own bands?
Oh, the immortal words of Cliff Burton. Quit. No, I'm kidding. Go for it. Go for it. Don't let anybody tell you there is nothing you cannot do on this rotten planet. Sure, you're going to have ups. Sure, you're going to have downs. You're going to try out different people. This person's not going to work. This is going to go on. But even if you have a band that breaks up, don't stop. Don't just sell your gear. Just if you really feel it in your heart that you want to do it, you want to go for it, go for it. I know the music business is tough. I know we're living in a single and download world, but, you know, that doesn't mean you should stop. If it's anything, not just playing the drums or playing guitar or anything in a band, you want to be an artist, you want to go do something, go for it. But playing in a band, it's going to be rough. There's no ifs or ands about it. Do your homework. Go on the internet. See how many bands have had member changes. I mean, it's just the way it goes. My favorite band. I mean, you know, my favorite bands have had different. You're going to have things go down. I mean, but never stop. Always have that will to move forward. Always have that ambition. Do everything you're going to do. The one thing I will tell bands out there today is okay, you've got a logo. Okay, you got shirts. You've got stickers. You have no music. It's all the music. Without music, all that stuff is just stuff. So write good songs to the best of your ability and have a great time with your buds and just destroy it.
That's awesome. And the next one, what would be the most embarrassing to happen to a drummer on stage?
Oh, well, I had one thing that happened was I played a venue that I'm not going to name, but they, I guess a lot of people here in the New York area will know what I'm talking about. You play the venue and there's no carpet on the stage, and I guess they turn it into a dance place, and the floor is nice and glossy and slippery, and they gave a little tiny little carpet that was really neat for a Muppet Baby drum set, and not a full double bass drum set on a rack. And after about a song and a half in, my drums started to move about a foot to a foot and a half, maybe even further away, sliding out from me hitting the bass drums. And there was for a moment I said, what's going on here? Things are moving away from me. You know, you're trying to make eye contact with band members during a break, pushes forward, but, they're into doing their own thing. Adapt or die, I stretch my arms out as far as I can, made it to the end, got to be professional, do what you have to do. Give you, after it's done, you tell the singer, I need a second. And, being a band and knowing each other for so long, they talk up the crowd a little bit, and slide that kick back to you, and you make the best of it, and that's just the way it's going to go. I mean, unfortunately, they didn't have anything to put in front of the drums. That was obviously the first obvious question that we asked. You got something, we could put down, because I'm not going to put a carpet under the kid at this moment, but it didn't happen. So in my head, I mentally prepared, said, okay, after just about every song, this kid is going to have to be moved. And, and that went on for about a half hour. And I did what I had to do. It was a little bit of an embarrassing moment, for sure, having your drums move a foot and a half away from you. But things are going to happen. There's plenty of things that are going to arise when you get to a venue, especially when you use a house kit. Boy, I'm glad that I don't have to do that no more. And it really could be a disturbing thing. You roll up on a place and they say we have a house kit and you have to use this. We have time restrictions, and the kit isn't a problem. It could be an older kit. Because some of the older drum kits, they sound beautiful. That's not a problem. The problem is they haven't changed a drum head since 1983. And so, that could be a problem. Sometimes they don't have tension rods. They don't have anything, or there's a full lug missing on the kit. And that's all you could do. I mean, we played years ago March Metal Meltdown in New Jersey. I stepped on one bass drum and one went boing, and the other one went doom. You got to think quick. And I told the sound man, kill my bass drums in the monitors. And I don't, to the crowd, they said it sounded fine. We had friends there, but, behind the drums, you have to make these decisions. Things happen really fast, and you have to say, okay, what am I going to do? And you have to think calmly, you have to think rationally, and then get to it. Things always happen. I've heard crazy stories on the road, which I'm sure you have too. So, it's just one of those things. You got to just roll with it.
That's awesome. The next one is, you're a big fan of USA Death Metal immensely. Go into your death metal shirt collection a bit and why you value it so much. Now talk about some of your own favorite Data Doom design shirts, and are you making these shirts, and what shirts do you have still available?
Yeah, I am totally down to New York and, stateside death metal. There's, it's undeniable. Suffo, Ripping Corpse, Human Remains, Death, Malevolent Creation, Cannibal Corpse. The list goes on and on. I do like European style or, overseas bands. I'm totally into Defleshed. I love Beta. But I would have to say one of the biggest bands that have really hit me really hard for years is from Canada, Gorguts. Luke is a great guy. Had some really good times with him, and he could quite possibly, now that unfortunately Chuck's not with us, he could be the nicest guy in death metal. The guy is so gracious, and everybody, not just in death metal, in music, should take a lesson from this man on how to treat people. And he's very humble. But, if you listen to their new album, Previous Dust, the guy wrote a masterpiece. And it goes back to the first album, Considered Dead. But, Erosion of Sanity is one of the biggest death metal influences on me.
Still there?
As far as our merchandise, we definitely have some sick shirts. We have a Creature of Doom, that's what we call them, and that was done by Mark of Art Wars. And we actually will have more of those coming in too. They went pretty quick, but we will have more. You can check them out on the net, like I said, on Facebook, or that's Day of Doom on Facebook, or lavadome.org. And we have a special we made for when the Second Coming comes out. We do have pretty much a limited edition Second Coming shirt that has part of the album cover with a demon, with a couple of, hourglass skeleton reapers. And it's a pretty cool shirt, and I want to put out there to everybody, when it comes out, we will be doing, it's either going to be a contest or the first so many people who order the CD, you will get a shirt. We want you to go out there and wear it for everybody and destroy it. We have plans. Our logo shirts are gone, so we are ordering more of them. And we're just thinking about, do we put something on the back? It's just the talking stage, what we're going to do, the colors, and a few other ideas. There's a few sick artists that it's a bunch of sick artists, but a couple really caught our eye, and we're looking at to maybe even though I'm an artist and Doug is an artist, we keep that out of the band. I know some people may say, oh, well, you're an artist. Why don't you do all your band stuff? It's one of those things, what you were talking about being overwhelmed. It's just one of those things, that's what this person does. They're great at what they do. And also, we want the scene to survive that way. You know, when you go ahead and you get a sick artist and get somebody to do your layout and things of that matter, it goes full circle. Everything is able to survive in the scene, and it's really good. And these guys do such great work; they deserve to get paid for what they're doing. So that's going to be happening, and we'll have stickers, and there's a few other things in the works, hats, and you know, before you know it, even though it's blistering hot out right now in New York, and I'm sure by you, it's you know, going to be cold out, so we'll get some hats and some sweatshirts and stuff. So, yeah, you just got to check the webpage out and also go to Facebook. A lot of stuff. That's where the majority of the stuff gets posted these days, like everybody else. And, yeah, that's what's good with that. Some cool merch is coming out real soon.
Awesome. The next one is, where can one purchase your upcoming releases and the Gates of Hell?
All right. You could definitely purchase it from us. You could go to InsaneTalesFromTheDead.com. You'll see up in the corner, it says Day of Doom. You could click there, and there's a few options you can order, the CD, the shirts, and that's going to be updated, and there's going to be an updated website, I'm sure, in the near future. You can also go to Facebook, Day of Doom, send us a private message, and we'll get back to you. You know, we're pretty prompt with that, even though we have, you know, responsibilities in our life. The band is a responsibility. We won't leave you hanging. You can go to lavadome.org, and you can go there, and I believe he has a shirt and CD package. And I'm sure he's going to have something up there, too, once the release for the Second Coming is out. I don't have an exact release date for that yet. I think he'll have a deal on there as well, so we'll see what's up with that. You know, I see there's a few things, you know, making a resurgence in, you know, the musical scene, so we'll see what's up, you know, between tapes and possibly a few other things. But, you know, it depends on if the fans want it. If there's a need for it, we'll do it. When it's not going to do it to do it, you know, this doesn't make sense logistically. But, or financially, you know, I mean, because sometimes it's not death metal, it's death metal, you know. So, yeah, you could go to those places and you can check them out all over, you know. I mean, I believe even they have some songs on, the last time I checked, it was on Amazon. So, you know, don't quote me on that, but, you know, definitely you could go to InsaneTalesFromTheDead.com or you can go to Lavadome.org.
That's awesome. The next one is, do you maintain your band Facebook and webpage, and if so, what are the URLs?
Yes, the band, we're all administrators. The band does run the Facebook page. You can go to, you could just go right into the search if you have Facebook, or you can search on Yahoo, Google, what have you. Put in Day of Doom or Day of Doom Band, and it will pop up. But yeah, you can search on all the outlets, and you'll definitely, it will pop up. And also, you can also, as I said earlier, you could go to YouTube, and it's our YouTube page or channel is called DoomTube, and on there you'll find videos and some candid stuff with the band, some funny stuff. You'll find some interviews. You'll find, you know, some studio stuff, which is something too. We're planning on having a kind of a making of that we're working on. That will be in the process as well. Once we get into this recording, because, you know, you can't overload yourself. You know, I recorded some of the drum tracking, going to do the same with the guitars and so forth. So once that's together, it's undecided if it's going to be kind of a documentary thing or if it's going to be just a song. So, you know, it depends on time, and it depends on the availability of when to do this, because, you know, pretty much Doug and I will be handling the editing and video editing. So, you know, again, it's just like anything else in my life, whether it's just waking up or getting behind a kid, it's always time.
Cool. Bill Eckhoff of Doom Entertainment has been managing Day of Doom since 1999. He is currently handling your band bookings for live events. Where can one reach him if they are interested in booking Day of Doom?
Yeah, Bill Eckhoff can be reached at Facebook. That's Bill Eckhoff, Eckhoff, and that's his personal page. He's in the midst of setting something up for Doom Entertainment, and you could send him a personal message if you have an inquiry on booking the band or have a question about the band. You can definitely hit Bill up. But we also have for promotional material or interview booking, you could contact Kaspearia Management. That's Kaspearia Management, or Lady Cat Chaos Promotions, and that's Cat with a K. Both of those are on Facebook, and they're doing a great job, and they will definitely get back to you, and any information you need, they will be more than willing to provide it to you.
Also, the word within scene is that Kaspearia Management are very good friends of your manager and your band, and are going to be helping out with booking some of your radio stations, fanzines, and magazine interviews. It must be good having great friends in the scene. Speaking of radio stations, what would you like to tell the fans about Metal Devastation Radio?
Well, I'd like to tell the fans out there that Metal Devastation supports everything metal, and you should definitely tune in every week to all the DJs, and definitely put a little time in and listen to all the bands and be open-minded. I mean, I know there may be something you don't like, but so what? Sit down, put in the time, give everything a chance. And the more you listen, the more the station will grow. The more the station grows, the more the scene grows. It all goes full circle. Everybody helps everybody, and that's the way it should be.
Cool, man. Thank you for your time.
No problem, brother. Thank you very much, man. Appreciate the opportunity. This is Rich Hervey, drummer of Day of Doom. The reign of evil has begun on Metal Devastation Radio.